Good morning. So in this session today, I'm just going to do a very simple and easy to do beginner's strength workout, covering some key moves, glute bridges to strengthen your bottom and backs of your thighs, squats, really good functional full body strength, press ups, and some back exercises as well. So most of it you will not need any equipment for, but I will be using just a small bit of equipment, which is a resistance band. And the reason for that is it's just to give you an example of how a very cheap and accessible piece of equipment can be actually quite useful tools to have to do exercises at home. Before I start, so there's a lot of tightening up of process around delivering online training sessions after COVID, obviously, so many people are looking to train online, and the governing body that I belong to, which is SimSpa, has issued some new guidelines for just giving people the right information and advice prior to starting a session to make sure they exercise safely. So a bit new to this, here's my piece of paper. So really it's just to say that if you participate in this session, this is obviously going to be done as a recording, and you have to accept that you're going to undertake that at your own risk. And it's very important that you exercise common sense and you always seek the guidance of a medical professional before undertaking any form of online sport and physical activity. So none of these exercises should cause you any pain. If you feel any discomfort or you're not confident while you're doing them, then I would recommend that you stop. And really, best thing to do is to check with your doctor, especially if you have any active medical conditions that are being treated by a physician, to make sure that you have their permission, first of all, to carry out an exercise program. That said, most people in most conditions can really benefit from doing strength training. And as I said, this is really geared towards complete beginners as well. Now the other thing as well is just to make sure when you are exercising at home that you've got a nice safe environment to work in, you've got plenty of space, you're not going to bang into anything. If you've got equipment on the floor, I've got some weights here, you make sure that that's out the way, you're not going to trip up over anything and you're not going to slip. So this will take about, I'd say around 15 minutes. I'm going to do you a workout that you can follow along with me of 6 or so exercises. It's on my list over there, and you can do that. You can do it once, or you can replay this video, miss out this bit, and repeat the session again up to 3 times in one session. And you could repeat this twice a week, and that would be enough to help you start to build up towards some strength. Okay, so anytime you do a session, you should do a warm-up, I should say. So I am going to do a little warm-up for you as well on this. So you're going to bring your arms out to the side, and you're going to put your fingers into your palms. You're standing up nice and straight, your belly button's sort of drawn in towards your spine, sort of very lightly. Make sure you're nice and upright, and you'll do some little circles with your arms. Just small ones. And what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're working in to the back of the shoulders, and then just gradually we're going to get bigger, and then we'll go the other way. So starting off with some small little circles, really feel the work into the back. You want your shoulders down, your chest is nice and open, and you're just going to gradually make those circles a bit bigger. Okay, so that just warms up our shoulders. And then we're going to just bring our arms across the front of our body a few times, moving up and down, alternating which arm goes on top. Again, just to open up the chest and start to work into the back. Okay, now we're going to sit down on a mat or your floor. And for this, you're going to start in a position like this, where you're sat on the floor, you're leaning slightly back if you need to, and your feet can be wherever you need them to be. And you're very simply going to be dropping your knees from side to side. Okay? And what the purpose of this exercise is, we're starting to just mobilise our hip joints. Now, if that feels too difficult for you, an alternative is to just sit with your feet out, sit straight, and then you're going to just wind your feet like two little windscreen wipers. Again, you feel that movement into your hips, and to start with that, just sort of feel the work into your hips. If you can twist around, you can move your body to the side with it, and that's just going to deepen that stretch. Okay, so then we're going to come onto your hands and knees, and we're going to do cat-cow stretches. And these are very nice stretches where you scoop your back down, lift your head up, stick your tailbone up, and then you go the other way. So you're pushing through your shoulders, rounding up your back, and your tailbone this time points down. And we'll do a few of these. So just nice and gentle and slow. Take your time. As you get warmed up, you can deepen the stretch a little bit. And then we're going to go into a flat back. So this is a neutral position. And then bring one hand up and just lift it as high as you can. Push down through this hand, and we just open up the chest and just doing a very gentle stretch, twist I should say, into the upper back. So just go as far as you can. If here's all that, whatever it is fine. And then we're going to swap sides. So keep pushing up with the hand that's reaching up, and keep pushing down with the hand that's on the mat. And just feel that nice gentle stretch, quite a strange movement to begin with. And then we're just going to go back and do one more on each side. Okay, and now we're going to stand up. So stand up slowly, and we're going to just do a little bit of marching on the spot. So for this, depending on what your fitness level is now, you can very simply just march on the spot. What you want to make sure that you're doing though is your stomach is still activated, so you're drawing your stomach in very slightly, because what that's going to help to do is just line up our hips so that we're not putting pressure on the back. If we allow our stomach just to sink forwards, our bottoms stick out and it starts to put a lot of pressure on the lower back. So we want to make sure that we're just pulling ourselves into a nice straight line. So the stomach staying tight helps to do that. And warm up now is simply just to march on the spot. You can take it to a jog if you're up to that, or switch between the two. Alternatively, if you have any knee issues or you're not comfortable either with walking or jogging, you can even just do this. Pump your arms. Your stomach stays the same, your shoulders are down, but you're just going to pump your arms. And that, at a very basic level, is going to still help you to start to warm your body up, get your heart moving, start to warm up the muscles in the body and pump the blood a little bit faster and get us ready for doing some exercise. Okay, so we're going to start with glute bridge. So for this, we're lying on the floor. Okay, so your feet are parallel and pretty much in line with your hips in terms of the distance, the width of your feet. And now we're going to just draw our stomach in towards our spine so that we feel our back nice and flat, our lower back nice and flat back on the floor. And we're going to very slowly and carefully just push up through the heels. You can see I'm lifting my toes up a little bit. And as you push up with your toes, through your heels I should say, you then start to feel straight away your glutes contract. And then you're just going to push your hips as high as you can. And then just very slowly bring them down. And then we're just going to repeat. So you just lightly touch the floor, push up again, and as you get high, just really concentrate on squeezing those muscles together. And then we're going for our third, so we're going to do 10 of these. So really just push down, just push up through your hips, down through your heels, to feel that contraction in the hamstrings and your bottom. So where I lose count, I think this is 5. So really squeeze at the top. And 6. Again, really squeeze at the top. You have to force it really. Again, 7, give it a nice squeeze, hold it for a second, come down with control, I think we're on for 8, squeeze at the top. If any time this feels too much, you just stop, and 9, and 10. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to check my screen because it's gone off. Where's that? Now I'm back. Alright, so that's the glute bridge. So our next one is going to be a squat. So for this I'm going to use a bench. So you can use a chair for this. Just going to put the screen down a little bit. I want you to see my feet. So here, your feet are just a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Right. Your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Parallel. And you're pulling your feet towards you, just so that you can get your centre of gravity over your heels to allow you to be able to stand up from here, okay? So you can see that my back and my shins are roughly parallel, and my bottom is nearing my heels, which is going to help me stand up. And then my stomach, I'm going to just sort of draw in ever so slightly. I'm going to just cross my hands over my chest, just to keep them out of the way. And then I'm going to shift my weight forward, so I'm coming off the chair, and then I'm pushing through my heels to stand up, and then I'm sitting down, okay? So you're going to do 10 of those, alright? So I'm just going to change the angle so you can see the whole of me. Ignore my broken bench. So we're going to do 10 of these, okay? So come up, and 1. So you don't want your back to do any work. 2, just hinging from your hips. Push your bottom out to hit your chair. 3. So all the time we're nice and controlled. 4. So the only thing that's making you stand up is this joint straightening out. You're pushing up through the heels. Go in a straight line. 5, 6. But anytime you feel tired or you feel your back doing the work, then just stop and have a rest. And you can build up gradually anyway. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so that's our squats. So next on our list is going to be press-ups. I'm going to just drop this. I know you might be able to see me from there. Yes, you can. Alright, so you can do this on a bench. Do this on your work surface if you like. You can, if you're using a bench like this, just have to make sure that it's not going to move. So push it up against the wall. And for a press-up now, shoulders down, chest is very slightly lifted. Your hands are coming out in front of you. You're going to, again, draw your stomach, your navel towards your spine, because what we're trying to maintain is this nice straight line and this straight hip position. So you're going to move slightly back at an angle. Your hands can be quite wide, but really spread your fingers out. And we're going to come down. You're really trying to keep your head from moving. It's just your chest that you're trying to get down. Okay? So, and as you come up, you really feel your stomach pulling in, because you want a lot of your strength to come from your stomach to pull you back up as well. And what we're not doing as we come down is reaching forward with our chins and hunching our shoulders. We're trying to keep our heads nice and straight and not move anything. We're just pivoting from our knees, and we're allowing our elbows to bend out. But we want to keep the rest of our body in a nice straight line and not move. So we're going to do 10 of those. So when you're ready, we're going to go for 1. Keep breathing all the way through. 2. And I'm pulling my stomach back as I come up. 3. and 4, 5. Can't get right down with your chest, just go as far as you can. 6, 7, 8, 9. Now last one. 10. Okay, so that's our press ups. So what have we got next? So we're going to do a row. Now you may not be able to do this if you don't have the correct equipment, if you don't have a band. What you can use is a scarf, something that has a little bit of stretch, like a long knitted scarf. You may have one of those Pilates bands, which is a bit like this, but it's a continuous piece of elastic. Okay? And all you're going to do is sit upright on the floor, so you're nice straight back, and then you're going to hold onto whatever it is that you've got, and you're going to hold your hands back. Okay? So what you're doing here is your shoulders are down, chest is lifted, and you're bringing your elbows behind you in a straight line. What you're thinking of is bringing your shoulder blades together. That's the part of the back that we're working, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So if you have a scarf, you can just pull as far as you can get. Don't worry if it doesn't allow you to go back round, but just feel that squeeze between your shoulder blades. If you have zero equipment, you can just do it on a chair if it's easier than sitting down like this. Put your shoulders down, your chest lifted, and you're just bringing your elbows behind you to squeeze your back together. And you're holding it and releasing. So you're bringing your elbows back and squeezing. Make sure your shoulders don't come up, which is easy to do, and then you're releasing. And then at least you're going to get some understanding of how you're isolating those muscles at the back. Okay, so I'll do it with this, and we're going to do 10. So room for 1. And 2, my stomach's still drawn in to keep me nice and straight. 3, 4, my shoulders are down. I'm going to keep mine as I go through. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you're really squeezing the back at the end. And the movements all the time are nice and slow and nice and controlled. We're paying attention, using our mind to think about the muscles that we're working. Okay, so now we're going to do a very easy version of a plank. So for this, you're going to get on all fours. Your toes this time are going to need to be turned over, like I am here. And your hands are nice and flat on the floor. You want to make sure your back is active. That means you're not sinking down through your shoulders, you're pushing up through your hands to have your shoulders activated. And then once you're in a nice strong position here, you're very simply going to just lift your knees off the floor. So looking down now, I'm probably about 3 inches off the floor. So it's a tiny, tiny movement. Okay? And you're just going to stay there for as long as you can. Now what you'll feel is you'll feel quite a lot of work being done through the wrists and through the shoulders. You'll also feel it through your core, your stomach. So you just build this up gradually over time. So we'll just do another one for a count of 10. So our hands are nice and firm on the floor, and then our toes are turned under, and we're just going to very slightly lift our knees by pushing down through our hands to strengthen our back and shoulders and activate those. Bring our knees up, and we're just going to hold for a count of 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to do some lunges, and then we'll do a back exercise as well. So for lunges, you can hold on to a chair for support, and if you haven't done these before, I do recommend that you do that. And what you're trying to do is take a nice big step. We're going to do this from the side. So you're taking a nice big step backwards, okay? And you need to have quite a wide step, maybe a little bit wider than you think, because when you drop this back leg down, you just don't want this knee to come too far over the toe. When you haven't got a big step, it becomes quite hard to get into that position. So can you see how my knee's coming a little bit too far forwards? So we need a nice big step. Now, when you're stepping back, this is why it's good to have something to hold on to. You don't have to imagine that you're on a tightrope. Just click my screen. Sorry, it keeps going onto a screensaver. So you can step out to the side, make sure your back leg is parallel, and then you just shimmy into a place where you feel that you're wide enough, okay? And then you're going to hold on to the chair, just make sure it's a solid chair, and your shoulders are down, your chest is lifted. You want to make sure this doesn't move. You want to make sure it's not too far away. It needs to be quite close into you. You're just going to hold it as lightly as you need to for your balance. And then you are just going to just gently bend your knee and then feel that back knee coming towards the floor. It doesn't matter how far you go. You want to try and keep your shoulders and your chest up. It's quite common for people to drop down. That makes the body think that they're actually getting lower than they can and use the shoulders to come down, but we want to keep our stomach pulled in and our torso nice and upright and strong, and we're just doing the work in the legs. So from the side, once you've got into this nice wide position, think about just going onto your toe. It's quite a good thing to do. Think about going onto the back toe, and that gets you in a position where you're ready to just drop that knee. And you don't have to go far at all. Okay? So we're going to do 10. Just find the level that you can do. If you get too tired during it, you just stop. Can't remember how many you get up to, and you're just trying to build up from there. Okay? So our stomachs are pulled in, we're turning our toe up, got a nice wide stance, chest lifted, shoulders are back, we're holding on to whatever we've got, a chair, a work surface, and we're going down for 10. So 1. Up as high as you can. 2. And 3. And 4. You'll feel it very strongly on the back leg. 5. And try and think about pushing through the heel at the front to stand you up. And that's going to take pressure off your knees. 6. So you're pushing through your heel as you stand up. 7. 8. 9. And 10. So, and then just bring your legs together. Does feel really quite strong on the back leg. And then you're just going to swap over. So again, that shimmy into that nice wide stance. Check your back foot is facing forwards. Bring yourself onto your toe. Hold on to whatever you need for your support. You're drawing your stomach in. Your shoulders are down. Your chest is lifted. Nothing's moving. You're just thinking about dropping this back knee to the floor as far as you can. And then to stand up, think about your weight on your heel to push you up. Okay? So when we're ready, hips nice and facing forwards. We're going for 1. So your knees coming down here, and then you're pressing up through your heel. 2. Your knees coming down, and you're pressing up through your heel. 3. Your knees coming down, you're pressing up through your heel. 4. Keep your chest lifted. 5. 6. Have a rest whenever you like. 7. And 8. And 9. And 10. Okay, and then just shimmy your feet back together. So the last exercise is a back extension. So for this, you're going to lie on your mat with your necklace, and you're just lying face down. Your feet are turned over. Your hands are just under your shoulders, resting lightly, not really doing any work. And you're going to start with your chin resting lightly on the floor, and you just bringing your back, arching your back through sort of the mid to lower areas where you feel it, and you're just going up and down very slowly. You don't need to bring your head up. You're not stretching your neck. We're doing our back, so your head stays in neutral position. Okay? So we're going to do 10 of those. So 1, you can use your hands to help you if you need to at the beginning. 2, do nice and controlled up and down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure you do nice even breathing as you go through. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and that is a little workout done. So for stretching for this, you can come up onto all fours, and you can just make your knees a little bit wider, bring your feet a little bit closer together, and you can just lie down into what's called a child's pose. And for this, you want to just open out your hands a little bit, so a little bit wider than shoulder distance apart, and you're bringing your hands away from you. So reaching out, and then you're extending your tailbone towards your toes, and just feeling your hips and your ribs sinking down to the floor as far as you can. Now we're just going to stay there for a second and take a few deep breaths. And then you're going to gradually come out of that, and we're just going to stretch the backs of our legs. So for this, lie on the floor. Now, this is where these come in handy. If you have a scarf or a towel, it's a good idea to use that to help you stretch out the back of your legs. It actually makes it easier for your muscles to relax. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to be in a position where your back is nice and flat on the floor, so your stomach's drawn in, and then the bottom leg is out. You can see my toes turned up, and then I'm just bringing this leg higher towards me, my toes pointing down, and I'm just getting a nice deep stretch into the back of my leg, into my hamstrings. And by having something like this to hold on to, I'm not having to worry about reaching up or trying to grab the back of my leg. I can just keep my body nice and relaxed and just enjoy that stretch for a minute. And then we're going to bring the leg down, swap over. So this leg's flat, put your toes up, so we're keeping that leg active. And then we're bringing this one higher. Stomach's pulled into the mat. My upper body is completely relaxed, nice and flat. And I'm just using my hand to pull my band or my scarf. And my toe is pointing downwards just to help intensify that stretch. So with any stretches, you want to be gentle. You don't want to be stretching it to a point where your legs wobbling and shaking. We're really just trying to gently lengthen back the muscles. Okay, so we'll come out of that. And to stretch the bottom, so we're coming up into a lying position with our knees up. And here, we're just going to take one foot, put it over our knees. That might be enough for you to feel a stretch into your hip and into your side. If not, you can bring the back leg a little bit closer to your bottom and go on a tiptoe. If you need to stretch it a little bit more, you can lift the leg up and just reach around the back of your thigh and stretch. And that gives you a big stretch all around here. And whilst you're here, you just take a few deep breaths and really try and relax into the hip. Okay. And then to swap over, you just bring that bottom leg down, both feet onto the floor, and switch over. So that might be enough, and you might find that one side is different to another. Find the level that's right for you. And then once you're in position, just relax into the joints, into your hip, and just take a few nice breaths. Trying to keep your neck and your shoulders and your chest all nice and relaxed. And just feel the stretch into the hip area. Okay, so we're going to come out of that. And then we're going to just stretch our a little muscle that runs between our hips and the top of our thighs, which gets very tight whilst we sat down. So for this, we're coming into a half kneeling position. If you suffer with your knees, just get a towel or a pad underneath that's going to just soften, just cushion the area that you're kneeling into. And for this, your hips are straight, facing forwards, and all you're trying to do is push through your bottom. So just let me get my screen again. Push through your bottom. So you're tilting your pelvis forward. Okay, so tilting your pelvis forward, you can see it's a very small move. So you're just turning your tailbone underneath, which means that you're stretching through here to just open out this joint. So it's quite a small movement, but you should feel quite a powerful stretch here. You're generally tight in most people. And then we'll swap over. So I'm just turning around, you don't need to, just so you can see. Into a half kneeling, my hips are straight, so don't be turning around. Your hips are straight, and then you're pushing forward by tilting your pelvis and pushing through the front, through your bottom, to open out this area between the front of your hip and top of your thigh. And then we're going to stand up, hold on to something if you need to. We're just going to stretch our quads. So for this, you bring your stomach in, just letting your ankle gently rest into a cupped hand. And what you want to be doing is just tilting your pelvis forwards again. And you'll feel a little stretch into the front of your thighs and feel yourself pushing forward through the front of the thigh. And you just want to just lightly bring your knee down and back. And just making sure you're not pushing and you're putting any pressure on the knee joint. And then to swap over, just release the leg. And repeat on the other side. So you're just nice gently holding the ankle, pelvis is tilted, and then you're just pushing the knee backwards very slightly. And pushing forward to the front of the thigh, just to feel that stretch. And put that leg down, and then our last one, just to open out the chest, is shoulders down, your chest is lifted. Again, you're never sticking your pelvis backwards to put the pressure on here, you're always drawing your stomach in very slightly, your shoulders are down, and you're just going to open your arms wide. And again, just try and keep your neck nice and relaxed. Take a few deep breaths and you just really feel that through these sort of quite tight muscles here at the front. And this is a great one that you can do any time. If you sat there working around a lot in front of a desk or watching TV and facing forwards, just sit up straight and open out your chest. Okay, so that gives you a little example of a few nice exercises that you can do just to start to build up your body strength. And you don't have to stretch at the end. If you want to go back and repeat that, you can repeat that 2 to 3 times. If once is enough to start off with, then that's absolutely fine. You just find the right level for you and you build up from there. So thank you for watching that. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you again soon. Okay.